Hello and welcome to Rathod Science Academy. Today in this session we are going to see current affairs of 14th October 2025. So let's get started with our discussion. Before seeing the topics, let us have a brief introduction regarding which are the topics or what are all the topics that we are going to see in this class. So first one, it is about retail inflation hits 8-year low of 1.54% in September. So this article talks about one important major concept of your economy, that is inflation, and here we are going to talk about this retail inflation. And next topic, it is live-in relationships threat to Indian culture, says UP Garner. So in your society, especially in the salient features of society, we have this marriages topic. In that, what is happening now? The trend of live-in relationship which is affecting this marriage institution. So this is a statement which is given by UP Garner. So you have to know about certain basics regarding this live-in relationship. And this topic is important from your society point of view. And next topic is number of births declines, deaths rise slightly. So recently our Registrar General of India RGI came up with a report of 2023. It is related to the births and deaths in India. You have to know that. That is very important from your population chapter of your society once again. And next topic, it is achieving center's rooftop solar targets to remain a challenge, says study. So this article which is mainly talking about one scheme of our government of India which is focusing on installation of rooftops on our houses so that we can generate solar electricity. And this article is talking about what are the challenges that we face in this installation of this rooftops. And next one is, there is one study regarding the snow leopard. If you're getting that kind of any animal species or plant species, that will be very important from your environment and ecology point of view. From that subject, we are going to see that. And next one, it is about testing governance. So recently we discussed about one hydropower project which got nod from Government of India on River Chenab. What is that project is about? Savalkot project. So we are going to see about that project here. So these are the topics of the day. Now let us see the first article. See the title, guys. Retail inflation hits 8-year low of 1.54% in September. So what is the keyword in this title, guys? Keyword is retail inflation. So first of all, let us see what is this inflation means. So what is the inflation? Inflation is nothing but whenever there is increasing of prices of goods and services in market, that condition is called as inflation, right? So in this inflation, we'll measure inflation at retailers or consumers level, and we'll see at wholesalers level. And the indices or index that we use to measure here the retail prices, we have CPI, consumer price index, and for wholesaler we have wholesale price index. And you have to see certain dimensions regarding this inflation from your economy point of view, guys. It is very important. You have to see first of all inflation, and you have to see types of inflation. So how many types of inflations do we have? We have 3 types of inflation. What is that? We have demand pull inflation, we have cost push inflation, and built-in inflation. You have to see what are those 3 different types of inflation. And next you have to see about indices. We have CPI and we have WPI. And next you have to see about what is the role of government and as well as RBI to control this inflation. So this government policy is called as fiscal policy and RBI policy is called as monetary policy. What government do under this fiscal policy? First one is increase or decrease taxes, right? And second one is increase or decreasing of government expenditure or government spending, through which government can control inflation market. And what will RBI do in this monetary policy? Increase or decrease of interest rates, through which banks, especially RBI, will be controlling this money supply in the market. So all these things are very important. So now what is this title saying? That increase or decrease of retail inflation. This article is saying that there is decreased inflation, that to retail inflation in our market. Okay, now if you see certain details here, what is the limit or what is the range we have to maintain? We have to maintain inflation within 4 plus or minus 2%. That means we have to maintain in this bracket 2 to 6% of inflation our economy, right? So which committee recommended that? All your students tell me in the comment box. Which committee recommended this inflation target of 4 plus or minus 2%? Which committee? Huh? Not that. Come on, think guys. Which committee recommended inflation targets? Economy is done for some of you. Kiran, Nitin, Srimant, Kishore, Akash, Sanjana, Udeshri, Geeta, Ruchita. Very good memory. Sorry, okay. So from next week onwards, I'll be keeping test on this economy, guys. So at least at that time, please try to revise your class notes and as well as your material. Okay, so see about the committee which recommended this inflation target in our country after this class. Okay, online students, please to comment in this comment section. Okay, now let us see this article. So this is saying that there is decreased retail inflation, right? So now you guys tell me what might be the reasons that led to decreasing of price in market. Tell me, what might be the reasons? What is happening in our economy that led to decreased retail inflation? Just guess. So what about monsoon? We got El Nino or La Nina this year. Good rainfall, right? So because of this good rainfall, what happened? Agriculture productivity increases or decreases? Increases agriculture productivity. Then what about the prices of that food grains? Obviously decreased. And what about our vegetable prices in the market? Now they are somewhat stabilized. Because of the stabilization of vegetable price in market, obviously we can see there will be decreased retail inflation. Okay, now let us see in detail this article, what exactly this article is saying about. Retail inflation fell to a more than 8-year low of 1.4% in month of September. Retail inflation is 1.54. So what is the limit that we have to maintain? 2 to 6%. Even below that, there is very low price in the market. So inflation is mainly measured by using of which index? CPI, especially retail price inflation is measured by this CPI, that is Consumer Price Index. Who will release this? Please make a note. MOSPI, Ministry of Statistics and Program Implementation. So Ministry of Statistics and Program Implementation will be releasing this index. So you may get question like this. CPI is released by which of the following organization? And they'll give you Ministry of Finance. They'll give you WTO, they'll give you MOSPI, they'll give you like SEBI, like that. So they will give organizations which are there in your economy itself, so that there is a very high chance of confusion in your examination hall. So you have to remember that the CPI will be released by MOSPI, Ministry of Statistics and Program Implementation. And the CPI will measures mainly the change of consumer prices based on the basket of goods and services. Based on what is the base year? Base year is 2012. So we'll take 2012 as a standard year. So with that 2012, now we are going to measure this change of prices in the market related to that basket of goods and services. And this basket of goods, what they include? They include food items, clothing, transportation, medical care, electricity, education, and etc. So CPI is published monthly by this MOSPI. Every month we will be getting this index. We will be getting this index every month. You have to see, remember that. And why this index is released? What is the main objective? So here we can understand what about the price stability in the market. So that we will be getting data regarding how the cost of living is there in that so and so area. And next one here is how the purchasing power is there. So if the price decreases, obviously the purchasing power of the people will be increased, right? For example, if for example I have 100 rupees of 100 rupees in my hand and I want to buy apples. So actually in my back of mind I have an idea that one apple will be 20 rupees. So that how many apples that I can buy? 5. But if but after went to the market that I came to know that apple price is only 10 rupees. Now with that 100 rupees I can purchase 10 apples. So the purchasing power of me regarding these apples will be obviously increased. So to know that purchasing power capacity of the people, we need to have this kind of data. And how many types of CPI is there? We have 4 types of CPI. In our yesterday society class, I said about 2 things. CPI of agricultural laborer, CPI of industrial worker. So which committee recommended that? In yesterday's class only, did I say that or not? In our society class yesterday. So which committee recommended to release the CPI of agricultural laborers and as well as CPI of industrial workers? BLM. Not Rangarajan committee. Not Alag. Not Tendulkar. So tell me all those committees which I said in my class yesterday. Tendulkar committee, Rangarajan committee, Alag committee. Yes, Ladawala committee recommended the CPI of agricultural laborers and as well as industrial workers. So normally in this CPI we have 4 types of CPI. CPI industrial workers. So what it tracks? It tracks the price of the goods and services which are mainly used by this industrial laborers. And we have CPI for agricultural laborers. So actually what are the basket of goods of this industrial laborers and this agricultural laborers will be obviously different. So based on them we have to calculate the CPI for differently for this industrial workers and agricultural laborers. And next one is here we have even rural laborers. And next one here is we have combined. Combined is nothing but urban plus agriculture community combined we will also calculate. And what are the components in this CPI? You have to make a note. First one is food and beverages. It is the topmost. So it is a primary thing that we will calculate. It is around 45% of the CPI will be occupied by this food and beverages. And next one is housing 10.07%, fuel and light 6%, clothing and footwear 6%, pan, tobacco, intoxicant 2%, miscellaneous 28%. So you may get a question like arrange those in increasing order or decreasing order. Like that also you may get a question in your UPSC prelims guys. So in that way also you have to prepare for that. And say this next article, title says live-in relationship threat to Indian culture, says UP governor. So whenever our government delegates, if they are giving any statements, obviously it is important. And live-in relationship is there in your syllabus also, right? Yes, what is the keyword? Keyword here is live-in relationship. What you have to see here in this article? So first of all, you have to see why this governor gave that statement, yes or no? So you have to know about why. What is the reason why this governor gave that statement, live-in relationship is threat to Indian culture. And next you have to see one more area like where she gave that statement. If she is giving that kind of statements in this society where everyone or old age people who are attending that kind of summit or that kind of meeting, is that useful? So who will enter into that live-in relationship? Normally the present Gen Z, that is nothing but youth. That means she has to give that kind of statements where there are huge younger population compared to that of married or old population. So what happens if she is giving that kind of statements in this older population? Is there any use? No. So she has to give that statements in this area where we have gatherings of more Gen Z population, right? Okay, so actually she gave this statement in one conference, okay, in 30th convocation ceremony of Lohia Awadh University in this Ayodhya. So she was like called as a chief just for that convocation. In that convocation, she gave the statement that students, don't go for this live-in relationship because this live-in relationship is a threat to our Indian society. That is a statement she gave. And what you have to see here, first of all, you have to see what is the definition of this live-in relationship. And second, you have to see data regarding this live-in relationship in India. And next, you have to see what will be the impact of this live-in relationship. So here whenever I talk about this impact, you have to see both positive impact and negative impact. And finally, you have to get your own perspective regarding this live-in relationship. You have to get up with your own idea. Like if you are supporting that, why you are supporting? If you are not supporting, why you are not supporting? You need to have a clear-cut idea regarding your perspectives, guys. And this topic is very important from your GS paper 1 society, and already UPSC asked the question regarding this live-in relationships already. Okay, so now let us see this article in detail. So UP Garner recently made headlines with her views on live-in relationships, framing them as incompatible with Indian culture values. And she also said that live-in relationship is a threat to India's ancient culture. So whenever this kind of statements will be there in use, you have to make a note and you have to use them in your answer. For example, if you are writing any answer regarding live-in relationship, in introduction you can write, recently UP governor expressed her views on this, and she said that live-in relationships are incompatible with our Indian culture, and she also said that live-in relationship is as a threat to our ancient Indian culture. So like that you have to use this kind of statements directly in your answers and as well as essays, guys. Okay, this kind of keywords should appear in your answers. So what is the meaning of this live-in relationship? Live-in relationship is nothing but unmarried couple. It may be like heterosexual. Heterosexual is nothing but male or female. Homo means same sex. Male, male, female, female, LGBTQ community, like that. So in this live-in relationship, an unmarried couple, it may be heterosexual, it may be homosexual, cohabiting in a shared household as partners, but they will be not having a formal marriage registration or any religious ceremonies, but with mutual consent, they will start living together and they will share emotional, physical and as well as financial responsibilities as a couple, but there is no formal marriage between them. This kind of relationship is called as live-in relationship. And what are the key characteristics? They will come together voluntarily and they have consensual arrangements, and there will be no legal marriage certificate required to have this live-in relationship, and often it mainly seen as precursor to the marriage or an alternative for this marriage. Actually, this culture had been originated in Western countries, but nowadays because of modernization, westernization, now it had been shifted to India as well, and even Indians, they are also following this live-in relationship, right? Okay, if you see about our constitutional provisions, we have Article 21. For everything, this Article 21 will comes into everyone's mind. What is Article 21 talks about? Right to life and personal liberty. It is my life. It is my dignity. So whatever I like, I'll do this. So here we have one article which talks about right to life and personal liberty, which allows adults to choose their partners and lifestyle without state interference, because this Article 21 is fundamental right which is present in part 3 of our Indian constitution itself. Okay, and if you see the data, 50% of Indians, especially Gen Z, that is nothing but youth, they are preferring or they are opening for this live-in before marriage to test compatibility, whether our wavelength will be matching or not. So especially Gen Z, they are going with this live-in relationships. Around 50% of this youth, they are following this trend, guys. So because of this, UP Garner made this kind of statement. Okay, so what are the positive impacts of this live-in relationship? It will lead to personal growth, it will lead to compatibility. We can test daily habits and how the finances, how the conflict resolution happens between that two individuals before getting into this formal agreement. And next one is, it will also build emotional intimacy through late night talks, mutual support, and it also leads to the improving of bonds between them, and even social and economic benefits also they can have, like they can promote gender equality. So women is also equal with this man. They can also go with this live-in relationships, and even cost effective because we are going to share the expenses of rent, everything, and even that will reduces arranged marriage risk As you all know that because of arranged marriages, there is increased divorce rate in our country, right? So to avoid that, also live-in relationships are useful. And even we are focusing on cultural shift, it can also support this LGBTQ plus right communities. And next one here is it will also have some psychological advantages, like there will be lower stress from the family interference, and even people will be having higher satisfaction in this living relationships, because 60% they have strong communication skills in this kind of relations. And what are the negative impacts? Is there any clear-cut inheritance right regarding these children who born in this live-in relationship? No, this is one important challenge we have. And sometimes women also face abandonment without maintenance proof. So if there is any legal marriage system, then what happens if there is any divorce? They can file for alimony. But in this case, can women file for alimony? No. So actually, there is also one big problem, that there is no maintenance proof for women after once this breakup happens. And this one is there is also potential for honor killings in this interfaith cases, especially in this live-in relationships as well. And this one here is social and cultural stigma. So actually, in our society, this live-in relationship is considered as immoral, not correct. And even we have a problem called as, because of this live-in relationship, that can also erode this joint family culture of our Indian society, especially in these rural areas. And even there is gender bias and even emotional and psychological toll. So higher breakup rates will be there compared to that of marriage, yes or no? So because of this, what happens? There will be lack of commitment, there will be lack of attachment, lack of security, everything. And not only that, there is even increased domestic violence. So do you know the Shraddha Walker case of Delhi? So it happened in this live-in relationship only. So what happens in this living relationship is lack of proper safety also. And this one is there will be also increased mental health issues in the women once this breakup happens. And not only that, economic and practical drawbacks are also there. There will be like career risk, financial instability, and health concerns like unplanned pregnancies, STDs. So all these are certain negative impacts because of this live-in relationships case. Okay. Yeah. Now let us see the next article. See the title. Number of births declines, deaths rise slightly, says report. So what is the keyword in this article? What are the keywords in this title? First one is birth rate, second one is death rate. So what is this birth rate? Number of live births per 1,000 population is called as birth rate. Okay. So in which subject you can see this? You can say in this topic in governance, and as well as from your society also. So this article is saying that recently 2023 report of our country released by Civil Registration System, which is released by Registrar General of India. Registrar General of India released this Civil Registration System report of 2023, and in this report it is saying that in 2023 2.52 crore births happen in India. Okay, if you're comparing with this 2022, in 2022 it was like, okay, in 2022 like we had 2.3 lakhs cases more in 2022 compared to that of 2023. That means by year we can say that there is decreasing of birth rates in India. So that report is saying that in 2022 we have more to 2.3 lakh more number of births compared to that of this 2023. Okay, that means how much it will be? 2.7. Okay, 2.7 crore births happened in this 2022, but in 2023 2.5 lakh crore birth rates happened in our country. So now you guys tell, this report is clearly saying that by 1 year around 2.3 lakh births had been reduced. So what do you think? What might be the reasons behind this low birth rate? Yes, what are the reasons, guys? So here this article is saying that there is decreasing of birth rates. Now my question is, what are the reasons behind it? First one is, come on, online students, please to comment. Please be allowed. Okay, dual income, no children concept. Next. Okay, live-in relationships also one reason. Next one is actually what is happening regarding this TFR in India, increasing or decreasing? Decreasing of TFR. What is this TFR? Number of children given birth by a woman in a reproductive age is called as TFR. There is decreasing of TFR. Next, what about education? Increasing of literacy in India. Next, women empowerment, financial independence for women. And what is happening now? Are we following this trend of early child marriage? No, we are going for late marriages. So because of this late marriages, what is happening? Sperm quality in men and number of sperms also decreasing, and in women the egg quality and number of eggs are also decreasing. So because of that, they are having this fertility related issues. So after crossing this 30, it is very difficult to become a pregnant. Next. Come on, tell me what are the reasons why there is decreasing of birth rate in India. And even there is increased contraceptive awareness for the people, yes or no? If you compare to like 2 to 3 decades ago, there were no awareness of contraceptives. Now, if you go anywhere, there is a frequent ads of contraceptives. Even have you heard this I pill? Even in if you are watching any movies in this TV also, in between you will be getting ads. In that ads also there is increased awareness about this contraceptive methods. And even what about this policy of government? Government came up with this family planning program. So because of this increased awareness of this family planning also, that led to decreasing of birth rates. Next, come on, think. Okay, so this article is saying one more thing. There is slight increase of this death rate. Okay, so here in 2023, around 86.6 lakh people died in India. And if you see with 2022, like around 86.5 lakh, there are around 10,000 deaths. Approximately 10,000 deaths had been increased from 2022 to 2023. So what might be the reasons why there is increasing of death rate in India? Because of increased disasters, can I add this? So compared to 2022 and 2023, number of disasters increased. For example, floods. For example, even recently we had the stampede kind of events also had been increased. Next, cloudburst, flash floods, earthquakes, increased pollution. Yes. So because of all these things, yes, there is increased death rate. But the major reason they gave here is increased registration. Compulsory registration process had been increased. So because of this compulsory registration process of this birth rates and death rates, now what happened? There is increased death rate slightly. So the important reason they said here is because of mandatory compulsory registration of this death rate. So this number had been increased, guys. And next important detail which given in this article here is sex ratio at birth. What is the sex ratio at birth? Number of females per 1000 males will count at the time of birth. So actually this article mainly said that we don't have a proper national specific sex ratio at birth, but they said that from state to state it is varying, and low sex ratio at birth is there in this Jharkhand. It is 899. That means for every 1000 male we have only 899. What is the significance of that? There is sun meta preference in the areas where we have low sex ratio at the birth. So lowest is there in this Jharkhand, next one is in Bihar, next one is in Telangana, Maharashtra, Gujarat, Haryana, and highest is seen in Kerala. In Kerala it is 967, and even in Nagaland and Arunachal Pradesh it is 1085. In Nagaland it is 1007. So if you want to marry a girl, if you are having scarcity in your state, you can go to Arunachal Pradesh. We have plenty of women there. Okay, and even that will leads to improve genetic diversity also. Okay, Arunachal Pradesh, Nagaland. Okay, shift there, and you can get married if you are not getting girls in your state, especially if you are from Bihar, if you are from Jharkhand and Telangana. There is scarcity of girls, guys, for marriage. So you can go to that areas. Okay. And let's see what are the reasons for this decline in births. The first one here is, as I said, TFR, that is nothing but total fertility rate had been decreased. And in India, it is like 1.9 in 2023. Why there is decreasing of TFR? Because of increased family planning and contraception awareness and education for women. And even nowadays, there is delayed marriages is happening. Because of delayed marriages, there will be very short reproductive window. And next one is, nowadays we are focusing on smaller family rather than a bigger family. And next one is urbanization, economic factors. Because of increasing of education, women, so women participation in this labor force is also constantly increasing. So because of this, women are like dual burden. So because of that, they want to limit the number of children because they are choosing their career option over their family needs. And next one here is migration is also one important reason. So whenever there is a constant migration from one area to another area, can we shift entire family with us? It will be very difficult, right? So for that reason, they want to maintain a small family. And next one is policy and culture shifts. Actually, government came up with certain programs like family planning initiatives and campaigns. So because of that, what happened? There is reduced TFR. And not only that, after this COVID-19 time, what happened? So lots of changes which have happened in that society. So one important one is they don't want to expand their family as much as possible. And this one here is, there is also regional variations. In certain areas we have good birth rate, in certain areas we have less birth rate. So based on that also, what is happening here, there is decreasing of birth rates in urban areas compared to rural areas. Yes, see this article guys, achieving centers rooftop solar targets to remain a challenge, say study. So this article is talking about one important scheme, that is PM Surya Ghar Muft Bijli Yojana. Did we discuss this article in our current affairs class? When we discussed and why we discussed? Come on, think and tell me, online students, when we discussed this. Come on, be allowed, you're right. Yes, India wants to expand these two schemes for Africa. So what are those two schemes? First one is PM Surya Ghar Muft Bijli Yojana, and one more scheme, solar pump sets, PM Kusum. So actually government wants to expand the scheme of PM Kusum and this PM Surya Ghar Muft Bijli Yojana for African countries. So for that we discuss the topic. So now tell me guys, what is this PM Surya Ghar Yojana is about? What we'll do here, why government came up with this scheme and when government came up with this scheme. Did I say the details of that scheme on that day? Yes, now tell me guys. So why government came up with this scheme? What is the main reason? What is the main reason why government came up with this scheme? Yes, we have to achieve his SDG, Sustainable Development Goals. Next. So we are fighting against this climate change, right? And we have to shift from this fossil fuels towards cleaner energy. So for that, and even India has the target of carbon neutrality by 2070. For that also we need to achieve this. And this one is, according to this Paris climate deal, we have to reduce temperature of 1.5 to 2 degrees centigrade when we are comparing with the top pre-industrial level. To achieve that also we need to focus on this solar related schemes, right? And what government will be doing under this scheme? So government will be giving subsidies for the households and they will install this panels, solar panels on their rooftops. So what is the important aim? Government want to provide free electricity, right? So especially government can provide 300 units of free electricity for the people. So for that aim only government came up with this scheme guys. And now you guys tell me, this article is saying something like challenges. We are having certain challenges for installing this panels. So what might be the challenges? Infrastructure, okay, we don't have that much technology infrastructure. Next, come on, think and tell me. Online students, please to comment. Installing related challenges, okay. Installation challenges, lack of technology, lack of infrastructure. And actually this photovoltaic cells are made up of what? Semiconductors. Do we have the semiconductor industries in our country? Yes, recently our government gave permission for this, but till today also we import this semiconductors from China and as well as South Korea. And do we have the rare earth metals or rare earth magnets regarding this critical minerals? No, again there is lack of raw material. So because of all these things, yes, we are having certain challenges in this achieving of this target under this Surya Ghar Muft Bijli Yojana schemes, guys. Clear? So now let us see this article, and you may expect question regarding this PM Surya Ghar Yojana in your prelims, guys, and keep star mark for this. Okay. So despite near four-fold increase in applications between 2024 and July 2025, only 13.1% of targeted 1 crore solar rooftop installation happened. So from 2024, actually the scheme implemented in year 2024 until July 2025, around 13.1% only. What are the applications we got? In that application, 13.1% of people got installed with this solar roof panels. So what about remaining 87%? No, right. So remaining 87% they had not installed this solar rooftops because of certain challenges. And this article is saying that we have challenges like meter shortages. So do you know these electric meters in your home? What is the use of this meters? They will read how much electricity that you used. Based on that meter readings only, you have to pay electricity bill. Every month one guy will come and he will read the meter and he will be giving the electric bill, right? So here the problem here is there is meter shortage in India. And next one is there is no proper coordination between the consumers, installers and as well as discoms. So what are these discoms? Do you know these discoms? They are power distribution companies. Discoms are nothing but power distribution companies. So actually, whatever the power that we are generating, we will be storing in the grids, and from that grids, so this discoms will be supplying this power. So do you know big power lines will be there, big towers they'll build, and from one tower to one tower there will be very high voltage, high electric voltage related lines. So discoms, what they'll do is they will supply this power. Okay, so actually whatever the power we are generating, so here certain amount we will be using and certain amount we will be trying to sell to the government, right? So that is nothing but we are going to sell to this discoms itself. So actually there is no proper coordination between these consumers and as well as installers who are installing these rooftops and as well as discoms. So because of this, there are procedural inefficiencies in our system. So because of this, what happening here is we are not installing high efficient photovoltaic panels. So what is the scheme is about? It is a central scheme, and actually government have an important aim to provide free electricity to 1 crore households in India. So how? So government will be giving subsidy for the households and they have to install this photovoltaic cells or solar panels on the rooftop, and they will start producing electricity, and they will give around 300 units of free electricity every month, and if they are generating more, so they have to sell to this discoms. So what is eligibility criteria? Who can apply for this scheme? So first important thing here is they have to be for sure Indian citizen. Next one is they have to own a house. So this subsidy will be given only for the house owners, not for the rents or tenants. And next one here is the household must have a valid electricity connection. So without proper electricity connection, without a proper meter, then they cannot provide this scheme. And household must not have availed of any other subsidy for solar panels. So earlier if they are getting any subsidy for solar panels, they are not again eligible. Okay, what are the benefits here? The first one here is we can reduce carbon dioxide emissions. So actually this article is saying that for every kilowatt hour of solar electricity, we can reduce emissions of 0.4 to 1 kg of carbon dioxide emissions. Then now you can understand, guys, so how this solar power generation is helpful for reducing of carbon dioxide emissions, how it can helpful for decreasing of global warming and climate change, everything. Just 1 kilowatt hour of solar electricity can reduce 0.5 to 1 kg of carbon dioxide. And next one here is the grid is very stable, and even if you are using this grids, we can have very less loss of electricity, guys. And next one is we can go for saving of more energy and more efficiency, because India is located in the tropical region. So because of that, India can have this advantage of trapping of as much solar energy as possible. And this one is it is long term sustainable, because the lifespan of solar panels will be there for 25 to 30 years, guys. So for if you're installing on your rooftop, it can work for 25 to 30 years. That means in the long term you can generate electricity. Okay, so these are the advantages of this scheme. And see this article, guys. Snow leopards are the world's least genetically diverse big cat. Can you see this animal? Have you seen this animal really? No. So where it is located? Normally in which region we can see? Snow leopard. In this regions where it is covered by the snow. So tell me in India, in which region snow is there? Himalayan. That means this animal is seen in Himalayan region, guys. So what is the keyword that you can see in this article, especially anthropology students, you can identify? Least genetic diverse. Okay, so this article is talking about least genetic diverse. That means, can I say there is low genetic diversity? So this article is saying that there is low genetic diversity. So when we have low genetic diversity, in which conditions? Genetic diversity decreases. Have you heard this founder effect, bottleneck effect, genetic drift? Yes. So actually here what is the problem in this snow leopard is the population of this snow leopard is very less. So whenever there is less population, what happens? They will go for inbreeding or outbreeding. They will go for inbreeding. So breeding among themselves. So what happens because of this inbreeding? Genetic diversity increases or decreases? There will be decreasing of genetic diversity. So this is the concept. So this article is saying that there is decreasing of population size of the snow leopards. So because of this, what happening? They are going for mating within their small group of population, and this concept is called as inbreeding. So because of this inbreeding, there is decreased genetic diversity. What happens in this inbreeding? Homozygosity or heterozygosity? Yes, because of this inbreeding, there will be increasing of homozygosity. What happens in this homozygosity? Whenever there is increasing of homozygosity, what happens? That will lead to genetic disorders. Especially recessive characters will be getting expressed, right? That was the concept that we discussed in our anthropology classes, right? So actually what happening here is less population. Because of this less population, they are going for breeding among themselves. That concept is called as inbreeding. That will lead to what happens? Exposure or increasing of homozygosity. So in this homozygosity, what happens? The recessive characters will be getting expressed. That will lead to increased genetic diseases. So especially the students who are not from this anthropology, I want to make it like very clear. So the thing here is there is decreasing of population of the snow leopards. So because of this decreasing of population, okay, what is happening here is they will go for mating with animals which are present in that area. So because of that, what happens? So the group of people, the group of animals which are living in the same area, they will be having same genes. Yes or no? So because of this same genes, what happens? There will be no genetic diversity. There will be decreasing of genetic diversity. Why? Because the mating is happening between the small number. Because of that, what happens? Whatever the genes are already there, so they will be sharing the common genes. There will be no different genes which will be expressed in the next generation. So because of that mating inside their populations, that will also leads to increasing of genetic diseases. For example, I think you might know about this consanguineous marriages. So whenever you are going for this consanguineous marriages, for example, uncle-niece marriage or like cousin marriages, what happens? So there will be a very high chance of getting of genetic diseases. That is nothing but, so mostly they will share the common blood. common blood, common genes. Because of that, what happens? They will get more genetic diseases. The same concept you can apply here. So less population, mating among themselves, inbreeding. Because of that, there is decreasing of genetic diversity. Okay. So here what exactly you have to see is some important facts regarding the snow leopard. So you may get question like this. Consider the following statements regarding snow leopard. They may give 3 to 4 statements and they may ask you which of the statements are correct or how many statements are correct. So if you see some facts regarding the snow leopard, it is also called as ghost of the mountains, and it is a keystone species or indicator species of high altitude habitat, and especially seen in India in Himalayan ecosystem. And it is one of the 7th largest cat species in the world. And not only in India, we can see in other parts of Central and as well as South Asia. And it will be seen in only heights, alpine and subalpine zones. And highest number of snow leopard species seen in Ladakh in India. And after that, we have HP, Himachal Pradesh, and next one is Uttarakhand. In these 3 states, we can see good number of snow leopard population, guys. And what are the threats of this animal? So they are facing threats like habitat loss, poaching is happening, climate change is happening, unregulated tourism in this Himalayan region, and even now there is increased competition between them for livestock. Okay, so here these are the certain threats. And even if you see what is the conservation status, in IUCN Red List they are listed under this vulnerable, and in CITES they are listed under this Appendix 1, and under this Wildlife Protection Act they were listed under this Schedule 1. So because of this, this animal will be getting ultimate or at most protection status. Okay. So next article, it is about testing governance. So this article is talking about this Sabalkot hydro power project. So actually we discussed about this project I think 2 days ago, right? So why we discussed, our government gave this green signal for this Sabalkot hydro electric project. On which river we are building that? River Chenab. River Chenab is a tributary of which river system? Indus river system, right? So is this a run-on river project or not? Yes, it is run-off river project. And yeah, so how much electricity that we can generate by this project? On that day we discussed, right? How much? And and this project, it will be going to be the largest project which will generate hydroelectricity in our country, right? So actually this article is saying that, yeah, 1 minute. Okay, the problem here is we have Indus Water Treaty, right? So this is the treaty between how many countries, and which are those countries between which we have this treaty? India and Pakistan. So because of this Operation Sindhu and because of this Pahalgam attack, we suspended this Indus Water Treaty. And if you are giving this kind of signal whenever we are suspending this IWT, that is Indus Water Treaty, it is not right. So that is the thing which mainly said here. So actually you know that in this western rivers we follow this IWT, that is nothing but Indus Water Treaty, but now recently we suspended that. And in this suspension period, whenever we are giving approval for this kind of projects on that river, in future it may cause disturbances between those 2 countries with which we had this kind of treaty. So that is the thing which mainly said here. And actually Pakistan also had already challenged the suspension of legality of this framework, and whenever we are coming up with this kind of multiple large projects, so we need to have a proper cooperative mechanism, and we need to have the proper negotiations with that country, and even we can invite the third party scrutiny also. So that is the thing which mainly said in this article. Okay, so the important concern now is this IWT, Indus Water Treaty, suspended between India and Pakistan because of this Pahalgam issue. And in this time, if you are going for this finalization of this agreements, so it can leads to the further impact on the foreign affairs or foreign policy of India and Pakistan. So this article is saying that we need to have a proper coordination, proper cooperative mechanism between India and Pakistan, and even we need to have the negotiations and also we need to invite a third party scrutiny regarding this kind of projects. So these are the things which are mainly said here, guys. And this article is also saying that India has to follow proper data transparency, and we need to use multilateral platforms, and we have to focus on hydrological monitoring also, so that we can reduce the security impact. And also we have to focus on confidence building measures between India and Pakistan. Okay, so that India can realize this national security and ecological responsibility, and we can maintain proper relations with this Pakistan. So these are the things which mainly said in this article, guys. So these are the important topics that happened in our today's in the newspaper. By this I'm concluding. Thank you so much, guys, for watching, and please do like this class and share this class. And you can also follow us on our Telegram channel, where we are providing this PDF, and also we are providing prelims based question, means question, and as well as current affairs in short in our Instagram page. The link of that Instagram page is given in description, and in that Instagram also we are providing current affairs in short videos as well. And also in our YouTube community, after once my class is done, I am also posting prelims based question. Try to practice that question, guys. Thank you so much, guys, for watching.